Part 8. Exploring the World, starting from the discovery of the White Bone Dragon Pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 71. When a tinkling sound came from my ears. Yashi only looked at the underwater spectacle in front of him. It seems that the middle part of the two continents is split, and there is a depression. Then the immeasurable sea water fell along the depression, turning into a rare spectacle in this world. Countless schools of fish flow down the waterfall, some of which also glow. The picture in front of me looks even more dreamy. Yashi exhaled a breath of turbid air. He looked towards the live broadcast room and said to the camera, "It seems that the difference in the flow of the sea water I feel is related to the underwater waterfall in front of me. And everyone can see these schools of fish. I'm afraid all the sea fish we saw along the way came from here. Everyone has been traveling along the way, but I don't know if they have recorded my journey. According to the records I saw in ancient books, this place should be the royal palace of Atlantis before it sank." Yashi continued to walk a few steps forward, pointed at the underwater waterfall and said, "And the sunken waterfall in front of you is probably the palace complex of Dax's Hu." He couldn't help but sigh. I vaguely remember that Mr. Ye also said that he is not omniscient, which is similar to what everyone knows now, so it turns out that this is called almost everything JPG. Indeed, it's almost as promised, why do you know everything and I know nothing? I also said it was strange that I saw only temples and no palaces along the way. I thought they had all become ruins after 30,000 years, but I didn't expect them. How can I record it? You should tell me the distance between you and that pyramid now. Librarian of a certain imperial capital, no Q, I don't have such ancient books here. So Lao Ye, you want to go down, even my phobia of the deep sea can't be overcome. Thanks to Lao Ye for curing my deep sea phobia, I am now in a mental hospital. Yashi clicked and checked the palace map in his mind. After confirming that it was correct, he sat directly on the octopus and started on his way. I'm really planning to go down to the waterfall to see it. Yashi looked at the waterfall and was thinking about how he should go down later. Then I glanced at the barrage and found that it was densely packed with dissuasion, so I couldn't help but smile. Don't worry, this waterfall looks scary, but it's actually not bad. This waterfall looks scary, but it's actually scary too. Alegio, the flow speed of underwater waterfalls is tens of thousands of times that of ordinary waterfalls, especially at the bottom of the deep sea. No one can be sure how big this waterfall is. You should think about it carefully compared with what you have done before. The power of nature is actually even more terrifying for those things we encountered 1,000 miles away, although, I don't really want to eat, it's scary enough from a distance. Lao Ye, let's not challenge nature casually. Bai Vuchain, don't worry, brother, I've prepared a position for you here. It will be nice for the three of us to play mahjong together. Yashi was quite speechless when he saw these irrelevant barrages. However, he had always been cautious, so he communicated with Kraken. Yashi silently took out a sea beast inner elixir rewarded by the system and swallowed it. He could clearly feel his flesh being strengthened, as if all the bones in his body were being pulled. The blood in the body is like a big river rushing through the body, making a rumbling sound. This is a devil fruit, right? It's so strange. When Lao Ye was in the Bone Dragon Pond for the first time, I felt that his whole body was glowing, but he slowly seemed to return to a normal person on the surface. To be honest, I'm very grateful to Lao Ye. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have known there were so many magical things in the world. So, don't seek death. This underwater waterfall is very long and narrow. Yashi observed from above and indeed felt a terrifying flow speed. It seems that any life in it will be completely turned into flesh. But the strange thing is that these fish can go down the waterfall and up. The other person got closer and thought about it. Sunsi may not be as outrageous as he said. So he waved to the camera. Come on, let's go down together and see what the depths of this underwater waterfall look like. Stop waving, I always feel that Lao Ye is in a hurry to go to the King of Hell to play mahjong. It's very strange, what's going on with Brother Yes live broadcast footage. It doesn't matter if you have a signal when crossing the desert, it doesn't matter if you have a signal when you cross the seabed. How can you still live broadcast under such a terrifying waterfall? Kick the doorframe. It's better to worry about these things upstairs than to worry about that tomcat. 1,000 miles never leave 1,000 miles away. The man who was so strong back then is gone and will never appear again, crying. Yes, she could clearly feel the improvement in his physical strength. However, he still did not choose to be reckless. Instead, he took out the Xian longsword and went deep under the waterfall. Start to feel the speed of the water. Indeed, the water speed here is not that exaggerated. It's weird. But since this is the case, I don't need to prepare any protective measures. I'll just go down. Yashi asked Octopus to squat next to him. He pricked his head and rushed directly into the underwater waterfall. Hiss, I feel like my soul has been impacted. Since Lao Ye appeared, it has become difficult for up owners in major adventures. It's not a big problem, don't forget that old Ye is a professional. Yashi was swimming down like a fish. He could feel that the speed of the water was indeed extraordinary. But if it was said to be tens of thousands times that of an ordinary waterfall, it was not. You can see that these fish are also coming down with the waterfall. Yashi reached out and touched the fluorescent fish next to him. There was also a lone jellyfish emitting a faint light. Alegio, these fish are because they grow in the waterfall. 30,000 years is enough for a species to evolve and be eliminated, but the people who just went to the bottom of the sea are different. But this is not important, swim down quickly and see what's there. Kinlibuliaxing, it's broken. I was watching old Yes live broadcast room and brushing Weibo. How come I brushed the new martial arts military level released by the Martial Arts Association, which levels are the same as in fantasy novels? What's going on? Is this not hiding it from us? I am God, could it be that the spiritual energy has revived? Golden hair shell. It's not the revival of spiritual energy, because the things that Yeshen broadcast live have always existed in our world, but ordinary people can't touch them at all. If there is a better word to describe it, it should be that the new map is opened. No, it is the world unblocking. Yes, she didn't know that someone in the live broadcast room had already speculated about the unblocking of the world /. He just went down the waterfall like other fish. Suddenly, he seemed to feel something. Said to the camera. I can feel the speed of the water slowing down. But I should be far from the bottom now. It feels like I have only swam a few hundred meters away. It seems that there is something special under this waterfall. Yes, she swam faster and soon saw the quicksand below. Alegio, so that's it? Yes, she looked far away. He pointed to the quicksand waterfall in front and said, Hey, I don't know if I saw it wrong, why are there bones there? Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yu Pian Hai. Chapter 72. When Yeshi's voice came out, the camera also changed its perspective. Let everyone see the quicksand waterfall in front of them more clearly. The quicksand on the ocean floor, like star sand, flows toward the depths of the trench. Schools of fish swim in the direction of the quicksand. From this moment on, it seems that there is no difference between the seabed and the sky. Many people watching the live broadcast couldn't help but make gasping sounds. Yashi also waved towards the camera. Look, this is the joy of adventure. Otherwise, how could we unlock the secrets of the world and see such strange scenery under the sea? Now I will speed up and go down. I can look forward to what the bottom of this underwater waterfall looks like. Dots of sea sand surrounded Yeshi, and there were schools of fish swimming endlessly on the bottom of the sea. Yeshi crossed the quicksand waterfall and went deeper into the seabed. And it has become very narrow here. There are also bursts of empty sound echoing. It's beautiful but terrifying. I feel a sense of fear when I think of myself alone at the bottom of the sea, where no mainland has been seen before and no living person has been seen. Actually, I felt the same way when I watched that kind of diving documentary, but watching Lao Ye's live broadcast, the fear weakened a lot. Maybe it's because he doesn't have to wear a diving suit. Yashi fell down where he saw the bones. Use your sword to spread the sand from the sea. The skeletons that had not seen the light of day for 30,000 years reappeared in front of everyone. Yashi pondered for a moment. After looking at the complete skeletons, he said to the camera, "These 3 skeletons probably came from below. Perhaps they are people who came out of the palace of Atlantis 30,000 years ago. I have survived that natural disaster, but I didn't expect that I would die here in quicksand." Yashi rummaged around for a while. "Pick up the broken crystals scattered among them. Let them look at the camera. This should be a broken crystal. I'm afraid the power in the crystal has been exhausted, so I died here." Yashi shook his head. Once again, several skeletons were buried with sea sand. What a pity, I felt like I could have escaped, but in the end. By the way, is anyone taking notes? I remember Lao Ye said that when Daxus who sank to the bottom of the sea, people who came after him established a new kingdom of Atlantis. I don't remember this, but I remember Brother Ye gave directions to Tomcat. The place he pointed at was the new Atlantis. Suddenly realized, how did Lao Ye know about it? Yashi stopped watching the barrage in the live broadcast room, but continued down. This trip down the underwater waterfall took a lot of time. But when I saw the palaces in front of me, still feel it's worth the time spent. Yang Xuanhuan, the wonders and wonders of the world often lie in dangerous and remote places, which are rarely visited by people. The very beautiful Atlantis, the very beautiful kingdom of Atlantis. Ala country, the ancient ruins are indeed beautiful. It's a pity that he is the only one who can go in. I haven't studied the 5-color altar thoroughly yet. It will take a while. Yashi let the live broadcast cameras show the panoramic view. The palace complex under the sea will appear completely in front of people's eyes. Yashi pointed to the palace complex in front. This is the remnant of Atlantis. You can see that many palaces have collapsed. After 30,000 years of seawater erosion, I'm afraid the inside is no longer what it was before. Where is the architect, calling the master of architecture? Architects and historians hold hands, whoever lets go first is the dog. Yashi suddenly exclaimed, pointing to the front and saying, "When I came to Poseidonia, I told you that Atlantis has a unique specialty, which is the manta ray. I thought I would never have the chance to see it. But I didn't expect that there are manta rays among the underwater palaces." Yashi zoomed in on the camera. Traces of manta rays also appeared in front of everyone. It looks like a bat in the sea, which is quite scary. The bottom of the sea is empty and deserted. Only Yashi's voice came out. He walked to the palace complex. "But I saw many manta rays shuttled through the palace. I'm afraid more people have died here than imagined. And I'm afraid it was only the nobility and royal family at that time that could give birth to so many manta rays." Yashi explained casually while walking into the palace. "This is a special building in Poseidonia. It has a lot to do with the origin of their faith in the first place. The carvings and decorations above have a lot to do with Poseidon. The palace on the inner wall is actually made of pure crystal." Yashi couldn't help but sigh. For the Atlanteans, this kind of palace built entirely of crystals is equivalent to the kind of paradise described in novels. It can accelerate the realization of self-awareness and the opening of divine treasures. The palace complex is very large. Yashi gradually walked to the screen. This place has become a paradise for marine fish. There are also some coral colonies and tall mangroves. These fish and coral jellyfish are different from those commonly seen on the seabed. In a very fantasy way, everything here is full of spiritual energy. There are also creatures whose intelligence exceeds that of their own kind. This has a lot to do with these palaces made of crystal. Give me a crystal, I want to practice too. Brother, Don't you know how influential you are? After you say this, the price of crystal will definitely skyrocket. Please tell me in advance so that I can buy stocks. You guys are too inferior. I have accumulated a lot of crystals for a long time, but I haven't cultivated anything. There should be special methods of practice. I heard that someone above has already coughed, 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 coughed. 1,000 miles away, I can only say this here: if you go out, your post will not be deleted and you will come to your door for tea. Yes, she took out a crystal. Next, for a moment, everyone. It can be said that I have seen the change from sunny weather to violent storms. These sea trees, as well as sea fish, sea grass, and corals. Everything rushed into Yeshi's hands like crazy. Just want to take the crystal in his hand. As you can see, these undersea creatures have evolved because of crystals. So after seeing a high purity crystal, I will seize it at all costs. Yeshi waved the Xian longsword in his hand. Drive away these crazy undersea creatures. Then the internal force in his hand was activated, and he suddenly crushed the crystal. Let the power contained in the crystal disperse. Just now he slowly walked to another place to take a look. The crystal he just crushed looked good, but it was actually the worst sequence of crystals rewarded by the system. So it doesn't matter. And when Yeshi continued to move forward, after passing many palaces and going deeper, I saw an extremely large inland lake. Yeshi originally thought that it would take 30,000 years. Meeting a living murloc was already a hit or miss. But I didn't expect that. In the inland lake here. Did he meet a mermaid? Or is it a shark? Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the map of Poseidonia. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 73. Ding, congratulations to the host. The exploration of the Poseidonia map has increased by 16%. The overall progress is now 86%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the 5th puzzle piece of Poseidonia. You will be rewarded with shark beads, shark gauze, shark tears, top quality crystal x 10 kg, and Poseidonia fragments x2. Poseidonia picture book, breathing soil, dragon scales. Zirang, do you still remember the divine bones you obtained before? Use the flesh and blood of gods to build a real god. This is the direction Atlantis worked hard after discovering that crystals alone cannot become a god. However, Daxus who sank, and this plan completely failed. Dragon scales, why are there dragon scales here? Of course it's because real dragons are everywhere. Shark pearl, why did the sharks from the South China Sea come to Daxus who? This is a question. As you expected, it was trafficked and became a rare exhibit. It records the life of the Poseidonia Palace. 30,000 years of time, please lead everyone to start a period movie. Shark yarn, the yarn woven by the sharks is as light as yarn and extremely dreamy. Although it cannot be compared with the heavenly clothes woven by the weaver girl, it is obvious that there is no more beautiful yarn than this on the land. The mermaid's tears, a priceless pearl that can be used as medicine to relieve all discomforts on the body. Originally, Yeshi really thought that after meeting a living fish man, met another living shark. Looking from a distance, you can also see that this little shark has a soft face, and its skin is as white as snow and crystal clear. It is indeed worthy of the legendary praise. It was just when Yeshi first saw it. I'm still wondering here, why is this immortality just like Chinese cabbage? Unexpectedly, it turned out to be an illusion created by Shark Pearl. And when Yashi turned around to explain, when I saw the barrage, it was like I had never seen the world before. I couldn't help but explain. There's no need to be so surprised. The shark in front of you is not a living creature, it's just an illusion similar to the whale you saw before. Yashi quickly swam to the side of the shark. I stretched out my hand to pass through the illusion, but unexpectedly it got stuck. Who are you? How did you come to the depths of the palace? This is a young shark with a crisp voice. He was very surprised when he saw Ye. Is this wave an illusion? I'm stupid, I was waiting for Lao Ye to pass through this fake shark, but I never expected it stuck. Lao Ye's expression is quite embarrassing at the moment, I have to record it carefully. Don't mention it, if the anchor hadn't been Lao Ye, I would have reported XXXX. No wonder there are always interspecies love scenes in movies. If it's so beautiful, I can do it if it's me. Yashi looked at the puzzled little shark who tilted his head and said nothing. Instead, he directly reached out and took out the shark beads. This scene looked like a black tiger tearing out the heart, it was extremely terrifying. The little shark actually screamed and tried to run away. He didn't understand why the human in front of him wanted to kill him as soon as he met. Until Yashi took out the shark bead. She suddenly realized it, blinked her eyes, and sounded a little disappointed. Ah, so I'm dead. Lao Ye's crimes are extremely heinous, his crimes are extremely heinous, what kind of ruthless means can destroy flowers? I was so scared just now that I didn't even dare to look. Lao Ye, why don't you go to the police station and file a report, otherwise I'll always feel uncomfortable. Yashi took the shark bead and turned it around. As soon as I looked up, I saw these barrage, smiled, and explained. This shark died 30,000 years ago. He should have died with the sinking of Dax's Hu. It's just that the shark beads left behind will change into their previous appearance, which is why you misunderstood. Misunderstanding, what misunderstanding, where is the misunderstanding? It is recommended that you surrender and you will not wait until the time comes. Yashi mobilized the power in his body. I discovered that I could activate the mermaid pearl, so before activating it, I looked at the camera and said very seriously. Actually, there should be no sharks here in Dax's Hu. The sharks are all in the South China Sea. So this little shark probably didn't come to Atlantis through any legitimate route 30,000 years ago. Nanhai, my home is in the South China Sea. I am going to the sea now. If there are no sharks, please supply me. To put it mildly, isn't it just kidnapping, theft, and smuggling? But why do we still do this when we already have a crystal civilization? Should I say it or not, Lao Ye used his ancient book appraisal skills again and identified the origins of the sharks at a glance. Yashi waved the shark beads at the camera. But the reason why I was eager to take out the shark bead just now is because according to legend, the shark bead can record everything that happens. If my guess is correct, I'm afraid this shark bead records the scene of the sinking of Dax's Hu. And all the pictures of the changes in the sunken Daxi continent in 30,000 years. I will activate the shark beads now, let's recreate the real scene 30,000 years ago. Speaking of which, I never expected that I would encounter such an unexpected surprise here. Stop talking, activate now. I was still crying for the little shark upstairs. Why are you turning your back on me? Yashi's divine power poured into it, and the shark pearl suddenly shone brightly. Then the overwhelming floods or the wind turned from water fell one after another. At this moment, everyone could hardly tell the difference between reality and live broadcast. I really thought that the great flood that would destroy the world had come upon me. Help! Countless people watching the live broadcast screamed in fear and fell to the ground. Everything in the void was evaporating. And the flood that came from the sky turned all the matter it touched into nothingness. Yashi held the Xuanhuan sword in his hand and stood in the scene of the destruction of Dax's Hu shown by the Jiazu. He felt a lingering fear at this moment, and was more and more certain that this was a magic. A magic that could destroy the world. Under such circumstances, how could anyone survive, and how could there be any relics? My hands are shaking as I type. The barrage was full of sadness and unspeakable fear. But at this moment, a real dragon that came from the east and passed by Daxus, who suddenly showed its traces. Roar. The real dragon is unknown how high it is, let alone how long it is. With a dragon roar, the whole river and sea boiled up, the tide surged. The distant skyline was washed away by the sea, and the surging waves surged up, like thousands of celestial horses in the sky galloping at the same time. The water of the entire Atlantic Ocean followed the real dragon. The water turned into a dragon and rushed straight into the sky. And Poseidon, the god of Atlantis, also picked up the trident and started a war against the outer world. Rumble. The power of God is unpredictable. And the flood with the power to destroy the sun still makes people feel terrified. It seems to be ready to pour down, destroying all the existing materials in Atlantis, including the sky. Until a bright crescent moon gradually rose from the east, rose above the sky, and fell into the universe. Atlantis was torn into pieces and sank to the bottom of the sea. The entire Atlantis palace fell into fear and crying. The god fell. And the palace also fell into the deepest part of the seabed along the cracks. Yang Xuanhuan, this is an incredible scene. Even if you know that God exists, it is still scary to see this scene. No wonder it is called, the moon rises above the sea. It turns out that the moon really rises from the sea. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 74. When the scene of 30,000 years was played until Daxus, who fell into the sea. Everyone seemed to feel the same feeling the suffocation at the bottom of the sea. At this time, Yeshi's voice sounded, and there was even a little bit of relaxation in his tone, thus alleviating this depressing feeling. I didn't expect that 30,000 years ago, the sinking of Daxus, who turned out to be such a scene. If it weren't for this shark bead, I'm afraid we wouldn't have the chance to see this kind of scene that can only be seen in myths and legends. Yeshi happened to see the barrage. A bright moon rises over the sea. He thought of when exploring the ancient city of Jingzhou. Among the inheritance of bad people obtained, it is said that the rumor that Wei Zhang, the prime minister of the Tang dynasty, killed the Dragon King is not a legend here. He couldn't help but smile, then looked at the camera and said, "Perhaps Zhang Juling really knew that the moon was rising from the sea, so he wrote this poem. But we don't know this yet. We'll see if it's possible to solve the mystery in the future." Yeshi looked at the sea bottom, which seemed to have returned to calmness, and looked ahead. Next is the scene of Daxus, who under the sea, silent for 30,000 years. He shrugged his shoulders. 30,000 years of silent movies. Let's move on and look elsewhere. But if you want to see the evolution of the seabed for 30,000 years, it's not impossible. No need, just turn it off. Although I grew up watching blockbuster films, your scenes are so big that I almost have a heart attack. Unfortunately, this scene of the sinking of Daxus, who was probably recorded from the perspective of a shark, it feels like a lot of things were not captured. Kicks the doorframe. I really think the studio upstairs is for you to shoot 360 degrees with no blind spots, right? That's pretty much it. Just laugh if you want to see it. Fanwuju, thanks to Lautai for the rocket. Let's double click 666. Where did the guy upstairs come from? Why does it feel like something is wrong? Here, Yeshize is joking with netizens in the live broadcast room. The hospitals over there, especially the mental hospitals, and the underworld are booming. To describe it in one sentence. That is, everyone really feels what is called changing with each passing day. Oh no, this is second new differentiation. Never before have people in the world felt such constant and earth-shaking changes. when Yashi put away the shark beads. Some people breathed a sigh of relief. However, this video also completely became popular around the world. Some people have even begun to consider asking for the copyright of Man Yashi and are preparing to edit it to see if it can be shown in movie theaters as a blockbuster. This statement has been supported by many people. Yashi continued to walk inside the palace, crossing the once large lake. In fact, as early as when I looked down from above, Yashi discovered that there were clear distinctions among the Atlantis temples. It is what it is. There are also temples and ordinary palaces built among them. But most of the palaces collapsed. Yashi thought of the fish, behemoth, and tomcat's words. He said to the camera, "Seeing this, I am still not sure whether all the royal family of Atlantis really died here. But one thing is certain, that is, for now, I have not seen any traces of the new Atlantis under the sea in these temples. I believe you all know that I also made a lot of preparations before the expedition. Here we go again, I understand, Lao Ye's true form is actually a library spirit. He didn't lie to us, we misunderstood him." Yashi's voice continued to ring in the seabed. "So after coming to Poseidonia and seeing the 9 dragons hunter sea monster, I understand that after the sinking of Atlantis, there must be remnants of Atlantis who re-established a kingdom. Because that sea monster only appears in the deep sea. I was thinking, are the Atlanteans not that boring? They go deep into the sea and waste manpower and material resources just to kill a sea overlord." Yashi shook his head, feeling that what he said was outrageous. When Lao Ye also feels outrageous, needless to say, this is basically impossible. Coupled with Tomcat later, I am even more sure of this. Then a brand new kingdom of Atlantis was established under the sea. Yashi's tone became a little strange. "But, if there is behemoth in that ruin, we dare not approach it? If there are traces of the new kingdom there, there's no reason why there aren't traces here. So I'm guessing now that if I can't find any traces, I'm afraid there really won't be many royal families left in Atlantis." When Yashi said this, he thought of the golden pumpkin, and his eyes suddenly became strange. However, Yashi had already made plans for the use of the golden pumpkin. Transform yourself into a woman? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Suddenly I knew why the miserable fish wanted to hold on to Lao Ye. It turned out that the royal family of Atlantis had been wiped out. What a miserable fish. I remember it. And Behemoth went to the world of behemoths. I imagined myself traveling to the Jurassic to see dinosaurs. It was so scary. Tell me, will Lao Ye open the 5-color altar in the future and take us to extraterrestrial places to see it? That's not necessarily the case, maybe he went along the highway. Although Yashi said so. But I continued to move forward. It's a pity that apart from the sound of tinkling and the crystals that the system is constantly collecting in my ears, there was no other reminder, which confused him for a moment. Is it possible that to complete the complete exploration, we have to go deep under the abyss magma? Yashi thought of this possibility and for a moment, didn't want to complete the complete exploration. Although all kinds of thoughts passed through my mind. But Yashi's body was very honest and continued to move forward. When stepping into a palace again, he could clearly feel that the crystal purity here was very high. It's so high that it can be compared with some of the crystals that the system rewarded him with. Even the crystals in the ancient temple that I entered for the first time were not inferior. Ding, congratulations to the host for discovering the transmission channel, one-way transmission. The destination is the underwater kingdom of Atlantis. Yashi heard a voice in his ear. His eyes lit up. After quickly approaching, I saw a pile of high-purity crystals reluctantly piled into a pyramid. He glanced at the camera and said, "It seems that my previous speculation can be overturned. You can barely see that the pyramid-shaped crystal in front of you is, as you expected, something similar to a teleportation device. I'm afraid the people in this palace have been teleported away. We don't have this kind of material, you can make it yourself, Don't say it's the same as us at the bottom of the sea. Kicks the door frame. Those upstairs who can't speak can shut up if you are stupid. Don't think others are as stupid as you. What did I expect? Why don't you take it easy when brother Ye praises you? Do you know how to be humane? Is the person upstairs talking? 1,000 miles never leave 1,000 miles away. He's back, that legendary doorframe brother is back, but he changed from blaming Lao Ye to blaming us and then Lao Ye's licking dog. My youth is over, heartbroken. Yes, she leaned down slightly and felt the one-way crystal. After thinking about it, I estimate that the last 14% of the map needs to go to the new kingdom of Atlantis to complete. So he raised his head and looked at the camera and said, "Get ready, I'm going to open this crystal pyramid and see what the new Atlantis looks like." No, wait, I haven't figured it out yet. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 75. I didn't prepare anything, how come the person disappeared? Who the hell said I was prepared? The person is gone, how come the person is gone again? The barrage has started to go crazy. Many people watching the live broadcast pinched their philtrum and directly swallowed the quick-acting heart-saving pills that were opened on the side. Because the next second when Yeshi's voice just came out, the person standing in front of the crystal pyramid disappeared in front of everyone in an instant, making many people dumbfounded. Although there have been speculations, when this picture still appeared, everyone was still a little heavy fog. Wrong, so do the pyramids in Egypt also have the function of teleportation? The person is in Egypt, I'm already squatting under the pyramid, just waiting to be teleported away. Is the person upstairs planning to be teleported to a long cave to freeze to death, or is he planning to go to the ghost cave to have a close contact with the snake god, otherwise, fall into the seabed and be crushed to death by water pressure? Hiss, I feel that these ways of dying are very painful. When I hear this, it turns out that exploring secrets should be left to professionals. By the way, why hasn't old Ye appeared yet? Sit down, basic exercises, people who have just entered the live broadcast room, don't be surprised, the camera will be restored after a while. Yes, she could clearly feel that the substances in the crystal were scattered. Like scattered stars, as if a special bridge was built, allowing him to pass safely. It was just completely different from the feeling of teleportation before. Yes, she could clearly feel the fragility of this special passage. He could break free with a little effort. But in this case, he didn't know where he would be teleported to. Therefore, yes, she didn't move. When the light of the crystal slowly disappeared, yes, she had come to a brand new place. Ding, congratulations to the host for exploring the Poseidonia map, which has increased by 14%. The overall progress is now 100%. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully completing this exploration. The Poseidonia map of the global secret map has been fully explored. Please check the corresponding map by yourself. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the sixth puzzle of Poseidonia, God's Crystal X100, Hydrodynamic Armor X3, Manta Armor X3, Deep Sea Exploration Ship X3, Crystal Instructions, Poseidonia Fragment X2. Poseidonia Illustrations, Kingdom of Atlantis, Undersea City Cluster. Kingdom of Atlantis, 30,000 years ago, after the sinking of Atlantis, the remaining Atlantis people rebuilt a new kingdom on the seabed. After 30,000 years of development, although the civilization here is not as good as 30,000 years ago, it has also developed a brilliant water civilization. Undersea City Cluster, the survivors of Atlantis established a new civilization order on the seabed, and this is the kingdom established by the Atlantis people. The other 9 countries are distributed in all around, the city clusters are surrounded like guards. God's crystal, whether it is 30,000 years ago or 30,000 years later, this is the best crystal that Atlantis can touch. Only gods can use it to temper divine power. Hydrodynamic armor, armor with water as its energy source. After sinking to the bottom of the sea, the Atlanteans developed a new civilization, and everything in this civilization is based on water. This is one of the top armors in the kingdom of Atlantis. Manta armor, as the name suggests, a type of armor developed based on manta rays, with many high-tech weapons built in, invincible firepower coverage, and the energy source is still water energy. Deep-sea exploration ship, this is a normal means of transportation in the sea besides the giant octopus. By the way, you seem to have forgotten an octopus that has been waiting for you. Ding, the system is settling all the rewards for this Poseidonia secret realm. Please check it later. And yes, she was reminded by the system. And suddenly remembered the kraken that he had left on the underwater waterfall. Such a big thing, there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. Yeshi's eyes were quite strange, but he quickly put the octopus behind his mind. And instead looked at the underwater city with lights all over the sky in front of him. As he looked at the underwater city, it was just a momentary change, and the camera that had disappeared reappeared. And continued to broadcast steadily and continuously. Compared to the dark seabed before, it was obviously much brighter here. The lights on the seabed were continuous, showing everything in front of everyone. At this moment, it seemed as if everyone had come to a modern civilized society, and the high-tech underwater city was not blocked at all. The place where Yeshi was teleported happened to be relatively high. And he could see everything at a glance. Therefore, when Yeshi's voice came, everyone seemed to wake up from a dream, but held their breath again. When we just arrived at the ruins of Atlantis. Didn't I tell you, welcome to Atlantis? I didn't expect to say the same thing again. Yeshi smiled very brightly, opened his arms, as if to embrace the whole city. Welcome everyone to Atlantis. After the destruction of civilization, new people stood up again and established an underwater kingdom. Yeshi kept zooming in the camera, so that everyone could see the underwater scene clearly. And as the field of vision continued to expand, the entire city under the sea stretched infinitely, like a wonderful light show staged on the seafloor. There are also strange and crystal-like bridges. Above are many undersea exploration ships passing by, and a complete high-tech world appears in front of everyone. Let them hold their breath and not dare to miss a second. A certain seabed. A huge and extremely huge octopus squatted in front of the underwater waterfall. After nearly 30,000 years of torture and edification, it was finally rescued by a human being. It was when I was extremely happy but at the same time afraid of being caught and roasted as a seat cushion by the big devil. It felt that its master's breath suddenly disappeared. Kraken's originally gentle eyes suddenly turned blank. He lowered his head and tried to see clearly where the owner who was going down the trench had gone. At the same time, a wailing sound was made. It's such a big lump, so I'm going to squeeze it in so hard. Yeshi didn't know that his pet was frightened because of the disappearance of his breath. Chatting to the camera and netizens in the live broadcast room. This time, starting from the Pacific Ocean and going to the Blue Pyramid. Go to the ruins of Atlantis 30,000 years ago, and now the brand new kingdom of Atlantis. Our exploration of Poseidonia has come to an end. Yeshi waved towards the camera. Then he took a photo of himself and the city cluster behind him and posted it on his Weibo. Then bid farewell to everyone. This exploration ends here. Goodbye. I hope that next time I start the live broadcast, I can take you to unlock the mysteries of the world. After saying that, Yeshi closed the live broadcast room with a click. How about a city as big as mine? Lao Ye, why don't you consider going in and exploring? The person upstairs is superficial, Lao Ye never goes to inhabited areas to explore the secrets. No, I just want to ask a question. There are no crystals around here. Why did Lao Ye leave? Yeshi stood alone on a high place. The crystal rewarded by the system appeared in my hand, and when I built a simple pyramid and was about to teleport myself to the sea. Suddenly I felt like I had forgotten something. Ding, your pet is committing suicide, go to the rescue quickly. Yeshi. Do I have a pet? Yeshi glanced at the little along in the system space. Suddenly I thought of something with a shockingly low sense of existence. An octopus whose presence is inversely proportional to its size. Broken. Yeshi just remembered Kraken, and the crystal pyramid in his hand shone. The special teleportation has been set up successfully. He saw the blue sky again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 76. Only then did I remember that there was another pet at the bottom of the sea. Yeshiren was already standing on the sea. When Ding Qing took a look, he found that he had arrived at Daxizhu from the Pacific Ocean. At this time, the sky was cloudless. Yeshi looked at the vast sea and saw the same scenes, and couldn't help but sigh that the sky and the earth were very different. It seems that this giant octopus's ability to weaken its presence has been practiced for 30,000 years. It has reached the point of perfection. So much so that Yeshi had to remind himself all the time. There was also a pet octopus waiting for him below, so he didn't forget it immediately. Then a blue light passed by. When Yeshi returned to the underwater waterfall, he looked at the traceless seabed and fell into deep thought. Where's the octopus, one as big as me? Ding, look down and get in. Yeshi followed the system's reminder and looked down. Under the underwater waterfall was quicksand. It turned out that Kraken had gotten into it. But he thought about an octopus so big, so narrow. When Yeshi finally found Kraken in the underwater palaces, it was holding several tentacles and crying, with big tears falling down. Yeshi. His mouth opened slightly, greatly shocked by this scene. Finally, I chose to record the scene permanently. Click. Yeshi conveniently posted this photo on his Weibo. And add text. A little pet I picked up at the bottom of the sea. It was the first time in my life that I saw such an emotional octopus. It seems that everything has animism. Then Yeshi took Kraken and left the bottom of the sea together. Came above the water. A behemoth appeared in Daxi continent and was instantly monitored by satellites. This scene was transmitted to many people's computers and attracted some attention. And Yeshi also brought his own pet, making headlines again. The comments below are: Hey, isn't this the Kraken? I haven't seen him acting like this in a few days. After Lao Ye closed the live broadcast, the big octopus suddenly started crying. The reason behind it is very imaginative. Hey, there are already submarines trying to go deep into the sea to see if they can find Atlantis. This message has been deleted. Please be polite online and speak with caution. Open sesame. Yeshi held a crystal ball that looked like a children's toy and read out these 4 words expressionlessly. Then, as if by magic, the crystal ball quickly expanded and expanded, then fell on the sea and became a floating island. Hello, my master, please give your intelligence a name. When Yeshi stepped onto the island, a sweet female voice came to his ears. After entering the island, he really didn't expect that the artificial intelligence here has reached such a high level, far surpassing the universal butler Jarvis in the previous life movies. After Yeshi turned on the stealth mode, the island swam aimlessly in the sea without being caught by satellites or the naked eye. As for the island, there is a big octopus on its head. Call. Yeshi lay on the sofa in the hall. Artificial intelligence naturally detected the current scene, and then selected massage vibration. A must-have model for lazy people, a must-have when traveling at home. There was nothing in the villa before. With just some food and clothing, Yeshi was too lazy to go back. Just let the system eliminate all your personal belongings in the villa. Then I lay down on this small island and started my retirement life gloriously. No. Sun, ocean, beach, coconuts, and random octopus tentacles. A map that only Yeshi could see slowly spread out in front of him. The vast, almost limitless map only lit up 3 sporadic icons, like the only 3 stars in the endless universe. Yeshi moved his hand, and 3 three-dimensional maps appeared in front of him. All traces of exploration remain here. The 3 maps here are hanging aside like 3 stars. On the other side, Yeshi put together everything he had gained from exploring the Poseidonia map, as well as the rewards from the previous 2 copies. The exercises include the original version of 9 Yang Divine Skill, the original version of Whale Breath Skill, the original version of Purple Cloud Skill, the original version of Xuanhuan Sword Sutra, Gecko Walking on the Wall Skill, Lingbo Weivyu Divine Mantra. Yeshi murmured to himself and put these books together. Next to him lay half a copy of the 16-character Feng Shui Yin-Yang Secretary. There is also the bronze divine sword Xianlong and a nephrite whip. Next to Yeshi were 2 weapons that were very rare at first glance. At the same time, beads, crystals, gems. Yeshi looked at the Sui Pearl Nuanyu and Baikan Pearl in front of him. And a dense pile of Amethyst X10, Blue Crystal Pyramid, High Purity Crystal X20, Top Quality Crystal X12 kg, Poseidon Crystal, God's Crystal X100. Emerald Gems, Meteor Jade, Airflow Stones, and Shark Tears give me some headaches. Separating the glitter, the crystals were all piled together with the spices, and the rest were packed in boxes. At the same time, another sunset molten gold, which was smelted from the essence of the sun and opened up the human divine treasure, was also placed together with crystal spices and other things. Silkworm clothes, almighty nano suit, shark thread, shark beads. When Yeshi was sorting out these things, he really couldn't help but complain. The system's rewards really had everything. From the sky to the earth, from the dead to the living, from science and technology to those who cultivate immortality, they are used for everything. It doesn't turn into bones, it will turn you into a zombie if you use it. Forget it, let's seal it up with the big-eyed ones. World coordinates. One is the coordinates of the world of giant beasts, and the other is the coordinates of an unknown world. Yeshi murmured to himself. Ding dong. This is the sound of Yeshi throwing a lucky gold coin, but this will not activate its lucky effect because the lucky gold coin has a 1-month cooldown. You have to carry this thing with you. When I was at the bottom of the sea, I swallowed one of the sea beast's inner elixirs. There are still 9 of them here. I just took advantage of my recent rest time to practice hard. Yeshi looked at the 9 sea beast inner elixirs that were a little larger than dragon eyes and said to himself. As for the broken trident, those power armors, deep sea ships, and dragon scales. Yeshi placed it on the island as a decoration. Anyway, it can be taken and used at will. I was also given a crystal instructions. Yeshi was speechless when he looked at the thick instructions. As for the other stuff. Golden pumpkin. Yeshi held a golden pumpkin and exhaled. His eyes were full of confusion. This thing is good, but it doesn't feel suitable for me. You don't need to put it here, it feels like a waste. Yeshi thought for a moment and put together the divine bones, 11 soil and Poseidon scepter. At the same time, the special Poseidon power surges within the body. System, can I create another me? Using the power of Poseidon and the scepter of Poseidon as the medium, as well as the divine bones and the soil as the basis. Ding, yes, but the body will no longer have the power of Poseidon. Yeshi breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this answer. If you don't have it, then you don't have it. Golden pumpkin doesn't have to feel itchy all the time. Yeshi's voice reached the beach. Let the big octopus squatting under the water tilt its head. thinking about what his master was saying. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 77. There is a giant octopus sea monster under the floating island, and occasionally hundreds of octopus tentacles stretch out from the sea. Just like a scene in some people's nightmares. The scene is almost the same as the legendary appearance of the kraken. Yashi held the golden pumpkin in his hand with a strange look in his eyes. I really can't imagine what kind of product will be created in the end. When 11 soil, divine bones and the power of Poseidon come together. The entire ocean stirred up turbulent waves, as if to welcome its owner. System, didn't you say you could create a me? Yashi was stunned for a moment when he saw the newly appeared person in front of him, and then started to question. Ding, the host meant to create a new me before, instead of asking if he could create a self. Yashi. He couldn't help but hold his forehead, his expression twisted, and finally asked. Okay, then please explain to me why the human created is in the form of a goddess. This should always be your problem. Ding, gods have no gender. Congratulations to the host, you have created a brand new god and returned to the world. Yashi looked at what he had in front of him. Her ankle-length hair was as red as seaweed, her pure blue eyes contained the ocean, and her skin was crystal white. She was the perfect new god, lost in thought. The flesh and blood on his body are made of living soil, and the bones are transformed from divine bones. Standing on the shore, he is like the daughter of the sea. When the effect of the golden pumpkin dissipated, the divine body locked onto the female body. The 10 kingdoms were shaken, and countless underwater creatures were shocked. Truly the daughter of the sea. Yashi looked at the opponent holding the Poseidon scepter in one hand and the golden pumpkin in the other. I couldn't help but ask. But why doesn't he have intelligence? Ding, the divine body can be created by humans, but the god cannot be created by humans. I thought the one I created would be a clone, so what's the use of it now? Ding, an extraordinary decoration. Yashi smiled, thank you. Ding, the god originally planned to be created by the kingdom of Atlantis was only used as a deterrent weapon. Congratulations to the host, you have now obtained this weapon. The weapon has been locked to its owner. Since the golden pumpkin is used, the one who holds it will become the Lord of the Seas. Congratulations to the host. Although it has taken a long way, you still inherited Atlantis. Congratulations, you are the only successor to the kingdom of Atlantis, the Lord of the 10 kingdoms, the true God, the God of the seas, the guardian of the sea kingdom, the God of Poseidonia, and my host. Yashi's face was filled with questions. You are mocking me. The system starts to play dead. Yashi thought for a while. The most important thing was to put some clothes on the person first, and there happened to be crocodile silk. It was useless in the first place, but now it has simply turned into clothes and is worn by people. But for this god who was shaped by himself, he began to feel confused. After thinking for a long time, I still couldn't figure out how things developed into such a strange thing. And under the sea, the big octopus works hard to drag the small island that does not require its hard work. It wasn't until he felt a special aura around his master that he got out of the sea and took a look. Then he saw Yashi looking blankly at a goddess statue filled with the aura of its owner. It was slightly puzzled. When several tentacles stretched out and touched the leaves, they saw no reaction. Clankin was shocked, and the bleak memories of the past suddenly came back to him. It immediately picked up the glowing stone it found somewhere. Then a dozen tentacles took turns throwing round and smooth luminous stones in the air like acrobats, wanting to make Yashi smile. Yashi, what have you experienced in 30,000 years? Watch a very ferocious and huge kraken perform acrobatics for you to amuse yourself. Yashi's originally confused mood turned into complicated. Once again, I thanked the lucky gold coin in my heart, otherwise the situation at that time He really had no chance of winning against that behemoth. Let go of the messy thoughts. Yashi thought he had an extra weapon, but this weapon was humanoid. He returned to the quiet room. Start getting ready to improve your cultivation. After taking 9 sea beast elixirs in succession and using spices, Yashi could already feel that the internal force in his body was about to reach the critical point. And the god inside the body seemed to have finally obtained the key to the door to another world. There was already white smoke coming out of Yashi's head. And he could clearly feel a place in his brain being opened with a bang. This is the opening of the spiritual brain, and also the hidden mind. Yashi opened his eyes again, and the light in his eyes flickered, as if 2 rays of light were shooting out of his eyes. He opened his mouth and made a sound, as if communicating with a strange dimension, and the words he spoke were like laws. Jump out. The fish in the fish tank on the side suddenly trembled and then jumped out of the fish tank. This is similar to the way of your divine curse. But it's similar to the way you speak and follow the rules in cultivating immortals. Sure enough, the world of spiritual practice is one family. Yashi saw the fish's performance and couldn't help but compare. In my body, purely based on internal strength, it has been many thousands of years, not to mention that the internal energy is generated by itself every moment, and the internal energy is refined and refined. There is also a divine treasure that has been opened. He looked into the void and began to guess when the world would be unsealed. And what will the world look like after the lockdown is lifted? He practiced this practice for 3 days. Fortunately, the energy in his body was self-sufficient, so he didn't have to worry about starving to death if he kept closed. When I stand up again. Yashi glanced at the little Along and the Kunlun sacred tree on the side, which was receiving Zhou Tian's energy. After confirming that there are no problems, let the artificial intelligence on the island cook. As for Ariel, she continues to evolve herself, slowly giving birth to consciousness from her divine body. When the life of lying flat comes again. Yashi lay on the sofa very happily, and then started surfing the internet. As soon as I turn on my phone, there are countless messages. And the popularity of several of my blogs on Weibo exploded. Comments, retweets and likes were all received, and I was once able to apply for a world record. Yashi lived a very comfortable retirement life with a smile on his face. Then when I turn on the news, the whole person jumped up from the sofa. Because the news headlines for 3 consecutive days were related to a village that appeared inexplicably. So far, Longguo has lost a lot of people in this village. And this village is called Fengxian Village. Jingle bell. Yashi's other cell phone rang. When he clicked on the playback, a familiar loud voice came out. Hey, Lao Yet. Me, fat man. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 78. When the sound has not yet come out. Yashi thought it was those special departments looking for trouble again. However, since he was in a good mood now, Yashi directly answered the call. When a familiar voice came from the mobile phone, Yashi was a little dazed for a moment. Why is it you? Fat man, how did you get here? A loud voice of joy also came from the phone. It's really you, Lao Yet. Didn't I join the special department with Lao Hu and the others? We have just finished training, so we are given an urgent task to contact you. I think they are afraid of being kicked out by you. Speaking of which, Lao Hu and I took a look at your latest trip to the bottom of the sea. You are so awesome. If we hadn't been recruited, we would have wanted to go hang out with you. Yashi had time to say a word, but the fat man opposite him said a series of words like a machine gun. As the fat man said a series of words, Lao Hu and Shui Liang on the side couldn't stand it anymore. He directly pushed the fat man aside. Lao Hu straight to the point stated their purpose of coming. Don't listen to the fat man's nonsense, Lao Ye, isn't there a village that appears out of nowhere in the south? Although there is something up here, because too many people have died, I still want to ask you to help me, so as not to encounter a big one. Yashi's ears almost exploded when he heard the fat man's banging sound. When Lao Hu took the phone away, he breathed a sigh of relief, frowned and said, "I'll support you." "The village, Fangxian village, right?" "Lao Hu, what, Lao Ye, have you ever heard of this village? It's not like what those people said, the library is a genius, right?" "Yashi, these people slander me every day. Don't you know about the news I saw on the internet about your ability to keep secrets?" "Okay, tell me what you want to ask me." He originally thought that the place he was exploring for the fourth time was Fangxian village, but now the system has not pinged. It made him a little surprised. Unexpectedly, when CAO arrived, a familiar voice rang. "Ding, congratulations to the host, the world has begun to unblock." At the same time, Lao Hu's voice also came out. This village was discovered by a villager, inside Wushan. At that time, the fire was shining brightly in the sky, as if there was a strange phenomenon in the sky. Someone took a picture of the changes in the clouds from a long distance. They looked like people, as if someone had really become an immortal. I have already sent the video to your account, but you can easily find it by searching online. Anyway, it is similar to the scene when you explored the Bone Dragon Pond. So, because of your experience, everyone is very cautious about such sudden things. Yeshi. What do you call me? A lesson learned? Forget it, Lao Hu, keep talking. Lao Hu was not polite and continued to speak. Someone took a look and found a village. The stone tablet at the front said Fangxian village. This matter was left to our side and some people were allowed to go in and explore, but they never came out after entering the village. I have tried fire coverage, but unfortunately the small ones are useless, and the big ones don't dare to be used. Yashi nodded and continued to listen to Lao Hu's explanation of things in Fangxian village. When he heard the words "the world begins to unblock," he said to the system in his heart, "So can I start cultivating immortality?" Ding, strictly speaking, the unblocking of the world can also be said to mean that the world slowly returns to its original dimension. This change moisturizes things silently, and it can indeed start to cultivate immortality. Ding, Nine Yang Divine Skill and Whale Breath Skill have begun to transform into immortal cultivation skills. Gecko Wall Walking Skill, Lingbo Weiabu, and Weiabu Divine Curse have begun to upgrade. Xuanhuan Sword Sutra is officially unsealed, please host choose to practice. Ding, Xianlong Sword and Nephrite Whip are beginning to be unsealed. In the original world dimension, the mythical products Ilong and Kunlun Divine Tree have been restricted from growing, but now, the restrictions on them are gradually being eliminated. Ding, congratulations to the host, the god you created is developing into a weapon, and the generated consciousness will become the weapon spirit of the new weapon. Please decide on the name of the weapon, Ariel. Yashi only heard the chattering sound of Lao Hu on one side, and the tinkling sound on the other side. People over there are still trying their best to popularize science. Here Yashi looked at the last line of words. Weapon. What kind of weapon will it be? Or will it be in human form? I just thought of the name. Ding, this god is made of divine bones and soil. In the Atlantis people's plan, it was originally a weapon, but because the world dimension is too low, it shows a human form. When the world is unsealed, the human form will only become the manifestation of the weapon spirit. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a self-forged artifact. Yashi let out a long breath. He really didn't expect that because the world was unblocked. The things around him would have such a big change. Thinking of this, he walked towards the place where Ilong and Kunlun's sacred tree were placed. As soon as he entered, it was visible to the naked eye that the little Ilong, who had been groggy all the time, became much more awake. Her body is also more slender, the dragon's body is visibly longer, and her scales are as dazzling as diamonds and white jade. And because of the return of the world dimension, the little Along became active and even started to climb on the Kunlun sacred tree and start playing around. She was not surprised when she saw Yeshi coming. She just flew up and swam around Yeshi in the air. Returned to the Kunlun sacred tree again. The trunk of the Kunlun sacred tree suddenly grew upwards, and now it doesn't look like a wooden stake anymore. There were even buds pulled out, and the energy drawn from the top flowed down one after another. The sacred tree in the background looks like emerald. Lao Ye, are you still listening? Old husband's mouth was dry from talking, but there was no sound on the other end of the phone. He almost thought there was something wrong with the phone. Yeshi nodded subconsciously when he heard this, and then said, I'm listening. I'm listening. Listen to what you described, and the name of this village. I think you should get out of here quickly and stop thinking about research. My suggestion is that there may be something like a fairy in this village, because in ancient times, such names would not be randomly chosen. By the way, is this all you found? At the same time, Yeshi asked in his heart. System, doesn't the map of Fengxian village need to be explored? Byte. Fengxian village, the ancient tomb of the earthly immortal, is a place where mortals seek immortality. Mortals will die if they enter. It is not recommended that the host opens this copy for the time being. Then what is the next secret realm we open? Yeshi became a little confused. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 79. Ding, the system is scanning the global secret realm, please check later. Yeshi nodded and did not continue to ask. And the news from Lao Hu was also vague. It seemed that they couldn't find anything, so someone wanted to see if they could get information from Yeshi. After Yeshi heard this meaning from Lao Hu's mouth, he raised his eyebrows. Both of them had ulterior motives and hung up after exchanging a few perfunctory words. When Yeshi looked up and saw the changes in the things in the hall, his eyes were startled. The god's weapon exuded the brilliance of water, like a never-ending eye of the sea, with the rolling sea water reverberating in it, and it seemed to be gradually transitioning into an artifact. But because of the sea blue light, Yeshi was never sure what would evolve in the end. I hope it's not a trident. Yeshi was really grateful for this legendary Poseidon weapon. After all, in the ancient dragon kingdom, those shrimp soldiers, crab generals, and patrolling yakshas also carried tridents. After lying slightly flat for a while, Yeshi picked up the Xuanhuan Sword Sutra again and began to practice. System learning. Yeshi instantly felt a wave of heat flowing down from his mind, and then he knew all the contents of the sword scripture by heart. You can clearly feel that your original internal strength is beginning to transform. And the power in the divine treasure also began to burst out. When the morning glow has just risen the next day, the first second Yeshi opened his eyes, a familiar voice came out. The global secret map is lighting up. Ding, the secondary map core drilling is lit, host please go explore as soon as possible. When Yeshi heard this voice, he suddenly said. He had only heard about this drilling. More is not understood. I didn't expect that the map to be explored this time would be this place. Although Yeshi was a little confused, he still started to organize his equipment, and then decided to start the next adventure. Sesame is closed. When the clear young voice sounded, a toy-like crystal ball appeared in Yeshi's hand. He threw the crystal ball into the system space. He landed on land and headed towards the Kola Peninsula. The big octopus was rising and falling near the sea, always waiting by Yeshi's side. 20,000 meters underground, the legendary passage leading to the gate of hell, explore the core drilling and solve the underground mystery. Another live broadcast room name that is as shocking as UC's headlines. Yes, she had given up resistance. After seeing the live broadcast room open, the number of people watching the live broadcast and its popularity increased at a terrifying speed. But Yeshi's expression was still very calm, and he just waved towards the camera. Hello everyone. Our fourth adventure begins now. Although the rest time is a bit long, I believe you won't mind, right? You are talking to yourself, no one would suggest it, we almost thought you were going to retire. Why does it feel like I'm in Antarctica? Is this exploration going to the polar regions? I'm starting to get excited. What's the 9 leaking fish upstairs? The place where Lao Ye is staying now should be the hometown of the giant octopus, but what are you doing here? Kick the door frame. When you click on the live broadcast room, I suggest you look up and take a look at the name. How can such a stupid person have the nerve to watch Yeshen's live broadcast? Go to school quickly, you are a primary school student. Fist hardened, what kind of top talent is this to attract hatred? Now that I see the door frame, I want to go up and kick it twice. Yeshi glanced at the live broadcast room from the corner of his eye, and then explained. I believe you all know that the destination of my exploration this time is the drilling in the Kola Peninsula located offshore. Although it has been a long time, I am still full of curiosity about this place. Before I go, I still follow my old habits and collect information beforehand so that I can explain it when the time comes. Whispering sound. The upstairs is good, one word expresses our attitude. Yeshi didn't care about this and continued talking. There are 3 drilling wells in the Kola Peninsula. The deepest drilling well has a surface record of 12,262 meters, making it the deepest drilling hole in the world. No one. Emphasis added, on the bright side. This project was started decades ago. Scientists at the time said that this project was launched to reveal the true face of the interior of Blue Star. In other words, the purpose of drilling is to penetrate the Earth's crust and dig through the Blue Star. When Yeshi said this, he smiled and said to the camera, do you find the purpose of this research interesting as soon as you hear it, and want to know what the results are? I thought so too. But unfortunately, although this digging through the Earth plan aroused endless curiosity, the project only lasted for 24 years, and it was said that in the end it did not reach the 15,000-meter goal set at the beginning of the project. Moreover, there is no announcement at all about what is deep in the Earth's crust, as if everything has never begun. The temperature here is very low, and there is no one except Yeshi. The only sound in the entire wilderness was the sound of Yeshi. Although Yeshi was still wearing casual clothes, no one raised any objections. After he finished speaking, his tone suddenly changed. It's okay if it's not announced, after all, it's a state secret. However, something strange happened. Although it has been decades since then, there has not been a deepest drilling purely for scientific research projects. In other words, so far, the drilling decades ago is already the deepest drilling in the world. Most of the drillings on the market are oil drillings. In other words, human curiosity about the secrets at the center of the world seems to have disappeared all of a sudden. It sounds nothing at first, but it feels terrifying when you think about it carefully. Oh, right, why didn't anyone study it later? Isn't the underground worth studying? Aleguo, of course there is research, but ordinary people can't get in touch with it. As for the project mentioned by the anchor, there are indeed some strange things. After the demise of that country, several countries were ready to join forces to take a look, but in the end they all gave up. At present, that place has become a completely abandoned project. Kick the door frame. There are only a few people on the island, and most people have moved away one after another, although it may be because of the remote location. Then what, old yeah, you have never been aimless. Does the name of this live broadcast room really lead to hell? 1,000 miles without staying. I guess that old yeah wanted to take us to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon before, but I didn't expect that he wanted to go directly underground. 20,000 meters, 15,000, 12,262, don't you think these three numbers together are weird? Yeshi exchanged some ideas with netizens in the live broadcast room. Finally, he spread his hands. I don't know anything if you ask me now. After all, I just collected some information in advance. More accurate information still needs to be investigated on the spot. Wait for me to look at the map. I should be only more than 1,000 meters away from the drilling site. Here we are. I was originally going to write that the drilling was hundreds of years ago, that is, to change the time, but after thinking about it, I decided not to change it, and just write it a few decades ago. When in doubt, parallel time and space. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 80. Yeshi paused in his steps. In front of us is a piece of naked red land, vast and vast. There were abandoned industrial equipment everywhere, looking like no one had been here for a long time. When he came over, he also saw some cordons drawn up. Yeshi also specially reminded his fans at that time. When you see these warning lines, don't cross them directly like you did. Unexpectedly, my words aroused ridicule from everyone. Thank you for thinking so highly of us personally, I think life is more important. Old yeah, what on earth do you think? Why do you think we will imitate you and come to this inhospitable place and go deep into the center of the earth? Even if I want to go, I don't have money, it's too far. Do you feel that this place is a bit like a Frankenstein experimental base? It's okay, no matter who the weirdo is, Yeshen, will kill him with one palm. No need to come near. Yeshi could see the traces of drilling. To his surprise, the drilling well was sealed casually. Yeshi just used a little force and suddenly pulled the cover open. It made him quite embarrassed. Decades have passed, and the quality is not good enough. I'm laughing so hard, what a weird sailor. Jinmo Bei, it feels like Yeshen's power has improved again. Is it because the world has changed? I have a very special feeling, as if something strange has happened to Blue Star while we were here. Who is the golden retriever upstairs? He is a master of metaphysics, right? Why don't I feel anything? Family members, is Lao Ye planning to drill this well? I'm a little scared. I searched for some information and found that there is a lot of fog surrounding this drilling. There are real rumors of hell, and some mixed true and false stories. It feels like listening to a story. Yeshi asked the camera to zoom out further so that people could see the entire aspect of the drilling clearly. He himself prepared the necessary things on the ground and prepared to drill. But what surprised him was that usually once he arrived at his destination, the ding-ding-ding sound of the system appeared on time like a necessity. However, this time, not even a sound was heard. This made Yeshi even more certain that what he wanted to explore was probably what was under the ground. Old yeah, you don't need to tie a rope as a decoration, we all know what kind of person you are. Error upstairs, we all know that you are not human. Lao yeah, stop pretending, my sword is already hungry and thirsty, I am just waiting to kill an underground creature later. Yeshi shrugged and zoomed in on the camera. Then he waved to the live broadcast room. We will now start exploring the Kola well, which is the deepest in the world. Now let's look at the time. It's 8:50 in the morning. Let's see how long it takes us to go deep underground this time. After saying that, Yeshi jumped directly into the drilling well. Bleach, jumping into a well feels like jumping off a cliff. Also jumping off a cliff, even if Lao Ye jumped from Mount Everest, I think people just want to enjoy the feeling of free fall when they are about to land. There will be a whoosh, and the sword will fly towards me. My family will be dumbfounded. The dark hole feels like a monster has been conceived. The cameras in the live broadcast room closely surrounded Yeshi. Thanks to the high technology of the system, the live broadcast picture is not very dark. It's roughly equivalent to the feeling of turning on the old generation light. As Yeshixian drilled the well, A large octopus swimming on the coast carefully climbed onto the shore. Then, following Yeshi's scent, he stayed beside the drilling well. He also stretched out a few tentacles to test it out. So when Yeshi went down several hundred meters, I saw a barrage of screams in the live broadcast room. Looking back, Yeshi couldn't help but roll his eyes. This is Kraken's tentacle. You guys are so noisy that I thought I fell into hell. Yeshi tugged on some of Kraken's extended tentacles and asked them to retract them. I didn't expect this pet to be quite stubborn. The consciousness came that there was danger down here, and he wanted to protect his master. Yeshi looked at the octopus tentacles, thinking that they couldn't go any further and just let it go. The barrage in the live broadcast room is. Gauba, almost thought I was going to see the Lord of Hell, but I didn't expect it was the big octopus. I almost even thought about Lao Ye's last words. There is something wrong with you upstairs. There is nothing special in this drilling well. It's just that if you stay for a long time, there will be a kind of fear that arises spontaneously. Moreover, there will be a very low and special sound coming from the depths of the drilling, like weeping and complaining. It seems even more frightening in this environment. Yeshi felt a little bored as he continued to fall. So I looked at the barrage from time to time, wanting to see how funny these troll netizens were. Unexpectedly, I went about 700 meters underground. The barrage ranges from gags to deep fear. Even if it's just across the screen, from the words, one can feel a suffocating feeling arise in the hearts of those who posted the barrage. When Yeshi saw this, he was a little strange. I was about to ask. Suddenly, a popping sound came. It looks very abrupt in the empty drilling. Yeshi waved the Xiankong sword in his hand forward. A streak of green light appeared. Bats? How could there be such a thing under here? It seems that there is something underground that we don't know about. We are gradually getting to know the truth underground. Yeshi's voice rose, and he gestured and said, I have now descended to below 2,000 meters, and the temperature is about 10 degrees. I will continue to descend now. He fell very fast. And everyone could only see a shadow that was falling rapidly. 3,000 meters, 5,000 meters, 7,000 meters. As he went down further and further, the temperature became higher and higher. But it was far from the temperature of magma. And the atmosphere in the live broadcast room became more and more anxious and solemn, as if a pair of invisible big hands were grabbing his heart. It's bad, I haven't seen the monster yet, I feel like I can't watch it anymore, Mom help me. Really, I've never felt this depressed in previous live broadcasts. The most depressing one was the ghost cave, but Fatty livened up the atmosphere, but now, I can't do it anymore, I feel like my heart is suffocating. I'm going to have a nightmare tonight, I always feel like something will crawl out from under the bed. Just when he was 10,000 meters underground. Yeshi himself felt a little guilty, he already had the blue pyramid in his hand, he could teleport to the bottom of the sea at any time. To be honest, the bottom of the sea is much more normal than here. Suddenly, Yeshi's footsteps paused, he heard a familiar system voice. Ding, congratulations to the host for increasing the exploration of the Kola drilling map by 11%, and the overall progress is now 11%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the first puzzle of the Kola drilling, and the rewards are quantum computers, advanced robots, spaceships, advanced genetic energy liquid, and Kola drilling fragments X2. Kola drilling atlas, ghost train, space-time wormhole. Ghost train, this is a ghost train that will disappear. It shuttles between different timelines. What is the truth of this world? Why does an obsolete train appear 10,000 meters underground? Don't try to buy a ticket to ride on him, otherwise, you will not be able to come back. Space-time wormhole, the four directions above and below are the universe, and the past and present are the universe. This is a form of expression similar to the wormhole in science fiction novels, with a different focus from the ancient Starry Sky Ancient Road, but both can be used for teleportation/jump. Spaceship, congratulations, with the cooperation of quantum computers and advanced robots, you can already travel in the universe. Of course, you can also choose to sublimate yourself. Advanced gene energy liquid, can open the gene lock/ancient divine treasure, have superpowers and become a superhuman. Yeshi was still a little uncomfortable when he heard such a science fiction reward. What's even more strange is, why would these things be rewarded for exploring this map?